If a sound clip suddenly starts or suddenly stops, it can seem quite a harsh entrance or exit for the sound. It might seem okay in a scenario where you're trying to make a loud and exciting impact for your sound file, but sometimes we are required to show a softer exit for an audio file, like in the case where a video clip is ending, or a gentle start in the beginning of a video clip. So if you wish to create a softer, more gentle entrance and exit for your sound file, this can be done by fading in and fading out of the sound clip. There are two ways to apply the fade effect to the sound clip. The simple and more handy method is to use these two small icons that you see in the top left-hand corner of the waveform view of the audio file, and one in the top right-hand corner. If you simply just drag this to the right, you'd notice that a yellow line appears that shows the impact of the fade-in effect on the audio. Now, as I move it to the right, you would notice that the amplitude, the height of the waveform has been affected. Now, if I want to make the effect a little different, like because this is actually going to be a gradual progression, if I want it to be a little different, then I can simply just move the mouse up or down to change the impact slightly like this. And you can see the impact of that on the waveform. The same thing I can do with the fade out option with this particular icon. But there is another option that's available in the menu that allows us to apply the effect in a more flexible manner. To access that option, we click on the effects menu, click on amplitude and compression, and then we click on the fade envelope. Before doing that, I'm just going to highlight a part of the audio that I want to apply the effect to, because this is the flexibility. This is one of the flexibility options that we have with the menu option. So I'm going to highlight this particular part of the audio, and I can do that to any part of the audio. In the whole thing, I can actually apply it to any particular part. I can highlight that part, I can apply the fade effect to that particular part. So after highlighting the area that I want to apply the effect to, I click on the effects option, then click on amplitude and compression, and then fade envelope. That's going to open up a dialog box that you see in front of you. In the dialog box, the very first drop down that we have in the top, which had the label presets written against it, this provides us with a set of options that we can choose from. Now let me show you the effect of that when we try those out. If I were to actually use, like for example, a linear fade in, this would be similar to what I had shown you earlier. You can see that the yellow line appears in a slanted fashion over here. Now, if I were to play this, I have the option of doing that by clicking on this particular play button icon over here, and that's going to show me the effect that it would have on the music. Okay, let's just try it out. I'm going to click on play. Now you notice that it gradually increased the volume as it played on the timeline. Now if I were to change that to a different form, like for example, let me just change it to the default one first so you can actually see the difference between the fade effect and the original sound. I'm going to click on default and then I'm going to play that again. Let me move this to the beginning and then play it again. So that's the original sound. Now let me try a different effect for that. Let me try the linear fade out. This is usually applied at the end for a softer exit. And look what happens when I play it. So you notice that it gradually reduced the volume of the sound, the amplitude. Let me move it again to the beginning of the selected area. And I'm going to choose a different one this time. Let me try this time smooth fade in. Now if I try this one out, this is going to have a relatively different effect. I'm going to click on smooth fade in. You'd notice that the curve over here at the bottom part and a curve over here at the top part. Now that's going to show a different impact. Now that impact is also affected by the fact being that I am currently running it in stereo mode. And in stereo mode, you have the sound playing for two different speakers. So this fade in effect that is going to be applied will be applied to the two, the left and the right speakers. And that is why we won't actually be hearing the impact that it would have if the sound were a mono sound. So let's play it and see what sort of an impact is this going to have. So you saw the impact of that. Now let's try one more. Let's try the pulse. Now that's a relatively different kind of effect. Let's try it out. Play. So you saw what happened in this particular case, that it gradually, first of all, the amplitude increased in the beginning, and then after that, the amplitude dropped down gradually. Now, if you've actually chosen one of the effects and you want to apply that effect, then you have to click on the apply button so that it applies on the audio file. And then after that, you can click on close. But if I click on close without doing that, the effect is cancelled and the original audio remains the way it was before. So you can try out the different effects that you saw in that dialog box and see the impact of that. In the examination, you're normally required to apply a fade in and a fade out effect, which you can choose from that list. Now, usually that's needed in the beginning of an audio or at the end of the audio, but sometimes it's required somewhere in the middle of the audio. When that is needed, what you just have to do is to highlight that particular part like I did over here in this particular case, and then apply the effect to that. So that's going to fulfill the requirement for that sort of an instruction in the question paper. So that's it for this video.